Welcome into episode 41 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. A big week ahead, and actually a big week, a big month ahead, to be honest with you, because a lot of news is going to come out. So we'll do the rundown really quick. I know I talked about it a little bit last week, so we'll have a Knicks episode today. I was going to put Knicks and Mets together, but then I thought, all right, Jets schedule is coming out. We can break it down a little bit. Uh, Still to be determined if Jet specialist Ryan Downey will be here or not, but we'll see what happens with that. If not, I'll be here just to discuss the Jets schedule and also talk about the Mets because I think it was a weird spot to talk about the Mets as of course like recap after like I always do at a few games in the middle of a series when they have an off day on Thursday and then they going and gearing up for the Subway Series for Friday. So I think that'll be best if we wait for that. So we'll do a little Mets and the Jets together. Today will be strictly Knicks because they're doing great. But before that, I want to save my excitement for a few more minutes in terms of the Knicks. But of course, I'm very excited about what's going to happen with the show. But so this week, episode 41 and 42 will be out. The next 2 weeks will be only one episode each week, just because there's a lot of behind the scenes things going on that I want to make sure the show is going to be fully ready for the new type of show that we're going to have in June. So we're going to have a lot of meetings and stuff like that, and reveal who the fellow host will be. He's a great he'll be a great personality. He knows a lot of basically every sport. To the highest knowledge you can get to. So it'd be very fun to have him included, but I don't want to spoil it yet. But um, that's really it for that. But man, the Knicks, they're up 3-1 against the Boston Celtics. I think that I'm not going to say I'm a genius, but they did kind of not follow, but maybe they listened. Maybe they listened to what I had to say. They did split at home. I said it, as long as they split at home, I will be very, very happy, and I think that they'll have a chance at closing out Game 5. I said that before, of course, these huge turn of events that happen. But now, tomorrow night, or next game, this is theirs to close it out on the road. You got to hope maybe the Pacers and the Cavs can uh, maybe get that series a little more longer. So both of those teams, regardless of who wins, I think the Knicks have a good chance. Regardless of who wins, maybe they just play a little longer so they don't have as much rest as perhaps the Knicks can have. Because I think if they win Wednesday night, they'll have a good. I'm trying to think Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think it's 4 days because I think they would start on Monday. The 4 days rest is a lot better compared to whatever. I mean, that's if both series end early. I forget the exact dates, but they would have at least 4 days rest, from my understanding, and that's really what you want. So if you can get as many days rest as possible, that'll set you up for a most likely playing the Pacers, who are very physical. We know that we've seen that last year in the playoffs when they beat the Knicks in 7 games. Brunson will probably have to bring up the ball every time and not have a room to move. So they're gonna have to obviously figure that out. But it's pretty much the same. I think it's exactly might be the same Pacers team, and of course the rotation is exactly the same. And that's a team that the Knicks should have beaten last year, and they would have beat if they were semi-healthy. Like they had no health going their way. It was, but even Brunson was playing hurt, and he was still great. And then now that you're adding Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, a healthy OG that you only had for about a game and a half, and you saw the difference he was making. And then Josh Hart will be healthy. He was definitely not healthy. He had that I don't know, remember exactly what it was. It's something with his like side. He was going through it. I remember every time he came out of the game, he was like looking like he was gonna die. I don't want to say that, but that's what he looked like. He was struggling. And of course, when we had Randall, he was here. He was out. But now it's a full strength Knicks squad. Mitchell Robinson too. He wasn't around, so that's another guy you got to think about who is in the mix now that wasn't there last year. So I think that the Knicks match up really well with them. But I don't want to get it too far ahead of myself. We'll get back to potential opponents for not just the Eastern Conference Finals and perhaps the Finals, as we said, the Knicks do have a legit chance now, being up 3-1 against the defending champion Boston Celtics. And I did one other thing I wanted to mention was I talked about how Brunson had to have a Brunson game against Detroit. That was Game 6. For the Knicks, that was in this round against Boston. That was last game, Game 4. Brunson had that type of game that you were seeing that he wasn't. Game 3, no one played good. Obviously, they got blown out. There was no reason to even look back at that game. That was just one you take and throw in the garbage. Pretty much just you knew from the start once the Celtics were knocking down those threes like that and they weren't stopping, I was like, okay, this one's over. Let's wrap it up. Let's gear up for Monday. And they did that. But Brunson, 39 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists, and a must-win game. I think that was the series deciding game to me, especially that the Knicks lost game three. I felt like if you lose game four, now you just totally erased all the momentum you took from when you were at Boston. Of course, two huge 20-point comebacks. Now those are both gone. And now you're back to square one. Now it's a best of three instead of a best of seven. It's only a best of three now. Whoever can get those two wins first. And I think that the Knicks coming away with the win the way they did as well. They were down in the first half. It's kind of been the theme of the series. Celtics have started out really hot, and then they just have gotten cold in games one, two, and four. Kind of the same formula as what's going on. They start out great and then just take the nosedive. I think that uh, I don't know. I kind of think it's too late for Boston, especially we'll talk about the Tatum injury in length in a little bit. But Tatum out now, that's huge for, of course, Game Five, but and beyond. But for Game Five, him not being around, you saw what he did last game. He it was him and Brunson basically playing. They weren't guarding each other, but they were basically playing street ball against each other for a good quarter and a half before Tatum went down. Matching shot for shot did not matter what was going on. Tatum was taking crazy shots. I mean, OG Anunoby was guarding him as tight as you can possibly guard someone in the NBA without getting called for a foul, and he was making the shots. Mikal Bridges was getting in there a little bit. He was doing the same thing. Josh Hart. I mean, all the Cat was getting switched on him. Those were tough. But those other three guys, I mean, they were doing anything they can to guard him, and he was just still making the shots, which shows how talented of a player he is. And I think both of the superstars stepped up last night, and I was waiting for it for both of those guys. And for the Knicks, of course, we're going to be more Knicks on this show, obviously, because it's the type of show we have. And Brunson had to have that type of game, and I think that in the first half he was all right. I think he was. I think he had like 12, maybe 12 points, maybe a little less than that. It was in that range, 10 to 15 points. If I don't remember the exact number, and he wasn't getting to the free throw line. I mean, the Knicks in general, they were getting hosed in the first half. I'm going to be honest with you. The refs were just not giving them anything. I know everyone's saying the home whistle, the home whistle. It doesn't matter if you're home or away. You need to have a fair whistle, and I think that that just wasn't the case. I mean, the Celtics had like 16 free throws to the Knicks two or four, whatever it was at halftime, and the Knicks were getting. I know Cat was getting hit every time he was in the paint, and they weren't calling it. I know Porzingis on the when he was trying to get offensive rebounds, holding guys' arms back and all that, and he was just getting away with it. I mean, there's some point where the refs got to step in, and it felt like there was I don't know what ref it was because I know they have a crew. There was one in particular that there was a lot of calls on his side of the court that had to get changed when like balls were getting deflected out of bounds, different parts of the game that other refs. There's no way the other refs are seeing that, and you're not when you're right in front of it. I don't want to make it about just ripping the refs, but I mean, come on. It's right in front of your face, and you don't see that. Like, what are we doing? Like, you have a job description, being a referee of a playoff game that you really can't let any little thing go because that's going to determine everything in the game. You see, of course, in the NBA, it's a game of runs. We understand that. Basketball is just one of those types of sports. You can make up ground within 5 minutes of play, obviously of play time. You can do that, and that's the thing that when you referees kind of don't see something, or maybe they get too involved, that can just like that change the tides. And for the Knicks, perfect example. I mean, all three of their wins against Boston were just runs. They went on a huge run, and they just overcame adversity, and they were able to come away with another win. And I'm gonna be honest, I said this already that I didn't expect them to get past the Celtics, and they proved me wrong, and I love it. As a Knicks fan, we know before COVID, it was dark days, man. For a good six, I would probably say at least 6 years, probably more than that. A lot of poor play. Roster was really bad. I mean, they're probably one of the worst rosters they had constructed in the entire history of the NBA for a good 2, 3 years. And those other years, they were all right. They were didn't really have a chance at playoffs. And then all of a sudden, Tibbs comes in, takes a squad to the playoffs that really didn't belong there. I think that kind of opened the door because in the NBA as a whole, I know this is something that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but for different reasons. But the landscape of the NBA, when New York is good, and in any sport, but especially basketball, when the New York Knicks are good and they have quality product out there on the court, everyone loves that, and it attracts good players here. And I wouldn't even say that I hate to say it now, but like Brunson wasn't considered anything really. Yeah, all right, starter before he came to New York, and now he's grown into a legit superstar. By the end of the playoffs, I feel he will be or has will cement himself as a top 10 player in the entire NBA when this is all said and done. And I think that if they go win a championship, it will be because of him, of course. Obviously, the other guys on the team have done their part. But what I was saying was Brunson has become that, and I think that that opened the door of when the Knicks made the playoffs. They're like, okay, we made it, but we definitely need a point guard. We have a huge hole at point guard. Elfrid Payton was our starter. He's limited. Derrick Rose, older guy. I think we need to get somebody in here. So it took a year after they didn't make the playoffs. Then Brunson was that first guy. He wanted a big contract. The Knicks believed in him. They thought that they could get something out of him, and he came from Dallas, who was a playoff team. Brunson was all right for them. Didn't have a huge role, comes here, plays great, and he's blossomed every year since then. That allowed them to go get someone like Mikal Bridges, who's not a superstar, but he's a guy that knows his role. He gets the job done. If it wasn't for Brunson, I would say he probably wouldn't be here right now. If it wasn't for Brunson, Josh Hart probably wouldn't be here right now. I know Brunson has a huge influence on this team, and that's why he's captain. That's why everyone, when he speaks from afar, obviously, I'm not in the locker room and all that stuff, but from watching afar, seeing videos and stuff like that, when he speaks, they listen to him. When he jokes, they joke. Like it's just one of those types of things that he has or commands the room, and that's what sets up good teams usually. Usually, leadership is number one in the making of a good team, which is team chemistry. All that stuff comes with that. But the coach can't always be the guy to do that. And Tibbs will do his part, but you need a player to self um, police the team, and it's just like that's what makes a good team. Your leader is going to be there. He's going to hold everyone accountable. When he stinks, he's going to let everybody know today was not my day. I will come out. I will come out next game or whatever, and next season or whatever the case may be, and I'll show up for you guys. And Brunson is that type of guy. Um, I know we've seen instances where Karl Anthony Towns struggled on the defensive end. He's going to let him know. He's going to be like, we want you to do it this way, and we got to do it that way because we're going to win games if so. So I think that's great to see. As a whole, though, this team is very exciting to watch. I mean, every night, even in the regular season, but every night they're just giving you some reason to be proud to be a New York Knicks fan. And the huge thing to me was they bounced back after game three. And I think that's been a huge theme of this playoffs, which is something they weren't able to do last year. Of course, the circumstances were different. They weren't able to bounce back. And this year, man, every time they lose, they come back and they look great after. They get a fire lit under them. Even last night, Tibbs, he seemed like he's been in a great mood in his terms. But last night in the beginning of that third quarter, I know there was a bad turnover turned into a 3-point play for Boston, and he called a timeout and he ripped into them. And after that, they turned the Jets on, and that was it. They didn't look back. And listen, this is a team that can stay together for multiple years. A lot's going for this next team. Tibbs is a little bit older, but he could definitely still be here. And I would love to see if he's gone, he can definitely pass the reins on to someone else. But that's down the road. We got to enjoy the moment as Knicks fans, and they have a chance of closing it out once again on another team's court, which tomorrow night or Wednesday against Boston. That's the type of team that you can't, even though I know Tatum's not going to be there and he suffered a gruesome injury, but he won't be around. This Boston team's still dangerous. There's someone that's going to step up. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, those guys don't miss three-pointers. Drew Holiday hasn't been too great this series. He can step up. Jaylen Brown, I'm sure his role will expand. I know he's been like a 20, 25 point game scorer. I could see him going off for 40. He's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. You got to make something happen. This is the Boston team. You cannot let them win game five. Because then they come back game six, they got confidence. They're like, oh, we just beat these guys. We beat them at home already once. We had them again. They just made a huge run. Now we beat them at our home court. Let's go force a game seven. So that you don't want the dominoes to start falling in the wrong direction. And I think that's what the Knicks fans and the Knicks team has to. All right, we got to go out there and we got to be like, okay, we got to end this now and we move on. But one thing I want to talk about before kind of looking at the future of the NBA and just potential opponents for the Knicks and the rest of the playoffs is Jason Tatum, man. That was a really gruesome injury, and you always feel for good players. I know, obviously, right now Knicks and New Yorkers who are Knicks fans, obviously, aren't they don't we don't like Boston. I mean, we really don't like Boston in general, but now, especially playing them in the playoffs and we have a chance of beating them, we hate them. But to see Tatum go down like that, it stinks, man, because he's one of those guys who receives a lot of hate. You seen with Team USA last year. he was. I mean, when he got his opportunity, he wasn't good for Team USA, but he's still a great player. He won a championship with the Celtics last year for crying out loud, with Jaylen Brown and all those guys. But he's a guy that takes a lot of heat from everybody, and he really had a great playoffs, building off what he did last year in the playoffs. A guy that's been in the playoffs. I mean, for every year since he's pretty much been in the league, in Boston, and that's a gruesome injury because it's saying it looks like an Achilles tear. And that keeps you out for a long time. We saw what happened to KD when he was injured. He didn't come back. I don't even think he came back that next regular season. I mean, I don't think the Warriors were like in it, but still, I mean, he didn't even come back. And if Tatum were to come back, it would be literally playoff time. And at that time, it's hard to, if you're not 100%, get your footing in that stage of the season. So we could very easily see Tatum be out all of next year. And even if not, it was definitely an injury where you can tell he'll be out for a significant amount of time. I don't want to speculate, but that injury is definitely going to change not just Boston, but just the rest of the league, I feel. In terms of this series, yeah, I mean, I would say Boston has a chance, obviously, because they're just the defending champs and they have that DNA, but it's took a hit after Tatum got hurt. Even if they were to come back miraculously and beat the Knicks, they're not going to win the next round. I don't see it. Um, and then in terms of the NBA, like as a whole, so we think about it right now, Boston, you take Tatum off that team. I mean, they'll probably a fringe playoff team, I would say, because they do have talent. Like I just said, they'll be a lower seed. They're not really a threat. I don't think they would be a threat to going and winning a championship. So they would be out of the equation pretty much for next year. Cleveland, you don't know what's up with them because they have a lot of free agents, and I know Donovan Mitchell is there and he's enjoying it, but I feel like he would. I don't know if he'll leave, but maybe he will. Like you seem like he's one of those guys that seems like he wanted to would he definitely wanted to go to New York. I'm not saying that would happen now because just the way the cards broke, but Mitchell could be a guy that could leaves Cleveland. If not, Cleveland is definitely a good team, but they just don't have that. I don't know what it is when they get to the playoffs, they can't figure it out. I know this year's injuries, but just over the past few years, they get to the postseason, they kind of fizz, just die out. Indiana will definitely be around. I know Detroit, I feel, is going to take that step up. The Knicks, I really have a golden opportunity to run this East or have a chance at running the East or being up there, I should say, for the next 5 years at least. I know all these the starting five's under contract. Mitchell Robinson's under contract. I know Deuce is around. He got a little decent contract. I'm not sure how many years, but he'll be here. Um, I know I could see the Knicks be going out there and making a huge move for a six-man type player who could just knock down threes and stuff like that. I know, um, like people in the NBA were saying Austin Reeves could be available because they're going to look to get a like, significant big man option, and Reeves will probably get traded. Maybe Mitchell Robinson goes to LA. They bring in Austin Reeves because Mitchell Robinson would be great with Luka and LeBron, just because he doesn't need the ball at all. He could get those offensive rebounds, plays great defense. If he's healthy, of course, it's different. But Austin Reeves would be great for this Knicks team, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But just the landscape of the league has definitely changed. Milwaukee, I feel, is done. Giannis is somebody that he's looking at his options. So usually when guys say they're looking at their options, they're probably gone. So he'll be gone now, which is huge. The Bucks really are done. Lillard's going to be out, so they'll probably just be a playing team at best. I don't even see that happening. 76ers are a weird team because they have a lot of talent, but you never know what's going to happen with them. Magic, I feel, are young guys, but they could be all right. They'll be a playoff team. So the East is definitely wide open. And then I know it's not Knicks news, but it could be. You never know. Lottery for the NBA draft. The Mavericks came away with the first pick, so Nico Harrison doesn't look as dumb as I guess people thought when it originally happened. Now he's getting the first pick. People are saying maybe he swings a trade for Giannis. Give that first pick to Milwaukee. They get Cooper Flag. They build for a different direction. That's very possible. I could also see Cooper Flag going to Dallas, where he has a ton of veterans around him, where he can be a legit rookie of the year type player in year one, just because he'll have no pressure on him, and Dallas has a chance of being a good team. San Antonio's number two, so they could be another team that trades for Giannis. We'll see what happens with that. Philly number three, they're probably going to use the draft pick, but that's directly affects the Knicks, obviously. Depends to do with that pick. So there's a lot that could go on. And in terms of the draft, the Knicks obviously don't have the first round pick because they traded for Mikal Bridges, and they won't really need one anyway. But we'll see what happens. I know Giannis was could be traded to the Knicks. People are saying that he loves New York, but I mean, if the Knicks are going to keep going this deep player front, I don't think it's worth breaking up the core that we got right now. I I really don't think so. And it's all matchup based. Just like I know this Knicks team is well suited in the Eastern Conference because of the type of defenders they have, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, both who they traded for within the last year and a half. Karl Anthony Towns, shooting guy, 7 feet tall. I wish he was a little better at defense, but that's a matchup nightmare. Brunson is the point guard, needs the ball all the time, but he knows how to win. He can get his teammates involved. Josh Hart, the glue guy. This is a group. We're seeing their max potential. I feel in the regular season it took them a long time to get the chemistry. There was injuries and stuff like that. Uh, and the X factor, I've been saying this, is definitely Bridges and OG Anunoby, just because we see what happens when both of those guys scored over 20 points, they won the game. And they didn't do anything in the first half. Second half, they come out there lights out. Look what the Knicks can do. They can beat anybody. And I feel the potential opponents, if you look at it, if they match up with Cleveland, I think they'll beat Cleveland. I know they didn't have any success against them in the regular season. They'll beat Cleveland just because they have guys to guard their best players. Indiana will be a little tougher, but I think they can still guard up pretty well with them. But I don't think the Knicks will have a problem scoring against them. I think they can score at ease against Indiana. And then if you look at the West, the teams are still alive. Um, it's the Golden State Warriors. I don't think they have a shot anymore. Curry's, even if he comes back, he's not going to be back for Game 5. So if the Warriors can come away with a win in Game 5, say Curry comes back for Game 6, but hamstring injuries are tricky. Say he comes back for Game 6, I still don't. That's not a guaranteed win. A guy that hasn't played in over a week and a bad hamstring injury that derails their season right there. So take them out of the equation. Minnesota. I mean, how that would be a heck of a finals. Two teams that made a trade in the late summer now facing each other in the finals. That would be something else. I think they would match up okay with Minnesota. The Thunder and the Nuggets, both of those teams are very, very good. I think both of those teams would give the Knicks more trouble than anybody else left in the playoffs. Honestly, you see with the Thunder, they play the best defense in the league. They have a ton of guys. They have a lot of depth, which the Knicks don't have. So I feel like that can over a 7 game series can hurt the Knicks a little bit. And then with the Denver Nuggets, the championship DNA, Jokic is Jokic, obviously. That would be give excuse me, nightmares. But we'll see what happens. A lot of good basketball ahead, and as Knicks fans, we gotta ride it, man. We gotta ride the high of this team playing so well. And if they make it to the finals, it's still a whole another month of basketball, man. And we gotta hope that's the case. So we have. I know whoever your baseball team is, they're doing pretty good as well. But um, just enjoying it, enjoying what's going on in New York sports right now. Because football season may not be good as this. I'll tell you that. So we got to enjoy this as deep into the summer as possible. And then our baseball teams will do well for us. Hopefully, they can do something, and the football season will be here before you know it. But the Knicks up 3-1, man. Keep impressing and doing it for New York. They really are embracing the toughness of the city, and it's great to see. And that's it for episode 41. Just go out there, like the YouTube page, subscribe to it, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. Instagram and TikTok doing really well. Just keep following, sharing it, commenting, whatever you want to do with that. Reels will be up. A big announcement will be coming out next week in terms of the show. I don't want to spoil it. And then in a few weeks, once June, first week of June, we're gonna start rolling with the. We'll have these, of course, these little shows, but we'll have the main show going on, and that's something to be very excited about. But for episode 41, it is over. Go Knicks and JD out.